Okay. So what were the key features and how did you approach the development?
So as the current project was Scaffold Portals, I would like to discuss, we follow the agile methodology here. So where we have epics and features over the target process. Generally, we use the target process or sometimes Jira and Asana also. So in last project, I used the target process. So we have epic and features, and we create the storage, and the storage duration is around 15 days. So we divide the storage in the task also. So for the development purpose, we take the generally we prefer based on client requirements, we move on that. So the project requirement had to develop in the TypeScript with the help of TypeScript and React.js. So we use the Next.js since it is our latest framework on the top of the React.js. So we use the Next.js, which is on like React and SEO friendly, SSR, CSRs, as well as sometimes, not sometimes, it provides the backend functionality also. However, we have not used the backend of Next.js. We have created our own backend that is on Next.js. So we go on the story by story and we develop the module by modules and move on the projects.
Okay. Can you tell me what a major mistake you made and how did you correct it?
Regarding the major mistake, I would say sometimes there might be chances, due to some chances I can say, there might be some chances that due to overthinking, over-analysis. Suppose that the requirement was not that points, like we had one requirement, create the dynamic forms. Yes, create the dynamic forms. So dynamic forms that we had over-engineered, which was not requirement for the client. We created the JSON files, and using that JSON files, we have created it dynamically. But in that forms, there was only a client requirement only for input box, text area, and some select box. Only these type of requirements were there. So we have also explored the uploading features, checkbox, multi select box. So this was we have done the over engineered years. However, we learned that, but that was the mistake, I think. But after the it was also beneficial, but not on the same time.
How do you manage state in a React application?
For managing state, I would like to go with the Redux management tools, which is one of the single source of truth. Here, the key points comes like actions, reducers, and stores. So we have used the Redux Saga also for managing the side effects like is asynchronous calls, and so we create the actions. We create the actions, reducers. In reducers, we create the business. We write the business logics, and for whatever after the performing the task on the reducer side, it is stored over the store. We can call the actions using the use dispatchers. There is two hooks: use dispatcher and use selectors. Using the use dispatchers, we can call the particular actions like add to cart. It would be add to cart is actions. We call it, and the data will send the payloads, and it will reducers will get the actions. Based on that, it will perform the task, and data will be stored over the store. And using the use selectors, we can get the data instantly and display the data to users.
Okay. Can you explain the pros and cons of using context API versus Redux?
Yes. For pros and cons, I would say both have their own advantage and disadvantage. Context API used for the we use for the small or medium size of projects, and maximum I think 2 layers of the nesting of components. So on that timing, I would prefer to go with the context API. And in the project have enterprise levels. On that cases, I would like to go with the Redux. The process of the Redux is tough, a little bit tough and tricky to learn, but context API it is easier ones. And if the project is small, so we would like to go with the context API. So use context and create context. These are things using that we can create the context.
Got it. Got it. Okay. What are React hooks, and can you give an example of how you have used them in a project?
Yeah, sure. So in React, it is one of the best and core features of React. Like there are hooks around, like it is called use state. I'm naming it use effect, use layout effect, use reference, use callback, and use memo. These are the hooks React have. These are managing for the all life cycle of the React. Can I explain it one by one?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Use state is used for the managing a particular component. Suppose that we have created the component like dashboard or user profiles. So on that we will call the use state hook, and the variables like usernames, date of birth. So we'll create the use state like const username, comma set usernames, and we use state in the type script we will pass the string type of the particulars value. That is the use state, and the variables this variable only can be used within the component within on the same page. So regarding next, that is use effect. It is used for the asynchronous task like call API. So on that timing, we can call the use effects. So in the use effect, we may pass the dependency. So dependency, like suppose that we have to call any API based on the user input. Like user must write some roll number. Once user type the roll numbers, so only on that cases particulars endpoint should be called. So we will so that we can pass the that particular roll number and we pass the in the form of post, and we can call the API. So that is about use effects. So if you have to call the use effect only on the particulars on the mounting of the page, so we will not pass any dependency there. So we will pass the empty array. So otherwise, use layout effects. It is used. It is work before the use effects and before the painting of the documents. So that is the main purpose of use layout effects. Otherwise, use reference. Use reference used for suppose that we have to play with the DOM. Like we have to get the slack. We have to get the DOM's value. So on that timing, we can use the use ref. So whenever we are and in the with the forms we can also use the use ref, but that form would be impure components, uncontrolled components. So generally it is preferred to use the use state for managing the components. So on that cases it will be called control components. So use layout effect, use effect, and that is use callback and use memo. Use callback and use memo both are for the optimization purpose. Use callback returns the function, memoized function, so that it will render only on the particulars dependency. Based on the dependency, it will render, and else it will not render, so that our page will be load faster. Similar to use memo. Use memo, it returns the value. Suppose that we have functions and which returns large set of data or which calculate a lot of things. So on that timing, we will use the use memo. So that it will memoize and the value will not, the function will not, or computation will not be performed again and again. So these are all about what the hooks of the
React. Okay. How do you optimize performance in a React application?
Yes. For the optimization purpose, there are lot of process we may follow. So first of all, I would go with the React, and after that, I would like to discuss with the tools. So optimizations, the basic one is you must always use the fragment. You should not use any div element for wrapping the JSX. That is one of the basic one. We should use the less API call. We should use the Redux management, or we can use the context API here also, or props dealing. We can also prefer that. Other we may use the lazy loadings. React provides the lazy loadings techniques so that only bundle size would be lesser, and it will render only those pages which is required for the initial renders. So we must always use the try catch block. It will also, if there is any errors, so it will catch it here. So code splitting, yes, we should use the code splitting techniques also. For the, if you have large set of database, large set of data, and we have to display that data, so on that timing we can use the infinite loadings. And there is all one infinite loadings and virtualizations and React window. There is also React window. We may utilize that. For optimization purpose, we have different tools on the Chromes like Lighthouse, which provides the details what's the problems on the websites. Using that, we can also perform do any actions. Yeah, I just got my mind, that is image optimization. Suppose that we have to display 100 by 100 size image, and the size of the image is in the PNG format or GIF. So on that time we may compress it and re-upload the images on the servers. For the image loading, so we may use the CDNs or S3 so that it will latency will be lower. So these are techniques we may utilize it.
Okay. What's your experience with the React router?
Yes, React routers. This is in React. We have to call using the React router DOMs. After that, it returns the browser routers, route. Browser router is the parents and routes is child of that, and route where we write the path name and we pass the components names. So using that, we can set the routers. It helps. It provides the route of the page.
Okay. Can you describe a scenario where you implemented routing in a React application?
Yes, generally we without routing, what I understand, without routing we cannot create different pages. Like we have in the current project we had home page, dashboard page, user invite modules, user invites, a profile page, my account. So we create the different routes there, and also we create the default routes, so that if user click type on the URLs meaningless URL or anything else which is not over the site, so it will call the default routes.
Okay, so that's all about React, Kishore, and we have some Node questions.
Sure, no problem.
Can you discuss your experience with the Node.js?
Yes, Node.js, it is runtime environment, and it is faster ones where we can generally, as developers, we prefer to create the API on the top of Express.js, and there is also one framework that is Next.js, which we may utilize it. However, I am more on Node and Express.js. Hello.
Okay. Yeah. What types of applications have you built using Node.js?
Generally, we have created the endpoints for the current project, as well as there are some e-commerce projects. We have created, and there's Video Connect and Aspire AI, which was regarding related to the stocks, showing the displaying the stocks signals. And there was a created, we call the API Polygon API using the Node.js and Express.js.
Okay. How do you handle asynchronous operations in Node.js?
Asynchronous operations, generally it is one of the core concept of the Node.js, that we should always use the async operations, since it is not blocking our code and it will be faster. So generally for that we may use the async of it for that keyword or call or promise.
Okay, can you provide an example of using promise or async or await or callbacks?
Yes, yes. Suppose that we have to perform some task. After some task, we have to perform some particular task. So on that timing, we will pass the callback functions over the function. And once the particular top of the functionality is done, after that, callbacks will be called and it will return the data to the users. Promise, yes, as the name suggests, promise. It will always return something as a promise. So we have requested called any API, and suppose that it is fetch API. We have used the fetch and it returns the promise. So using the dot, then we will get the response. And in promise, there are 3 states: fulfilled, pending, and pending and rejected. Yes, rejected. So these are states. Using that, we can manage. We can get the error on the catch block. For async await, we write the async. If a function we created async, so there must be we should use the await keyword, and using the await, it will also return the promise. After that, it will return the response.
Okay. What are some best practices you follow when building RESTful APIs with Node.js?
Yes, so one of the most and important, first of all, I would like to go with the JWT tokens. So any API points, I would only prefers first things that I would go with the JWT tokens. So without tokens, and we will not provide anything to the users. So all the security based points, like we are registering a user, so we will create the endpoints post based on the post. And so there is verbs like post, post, patch, put, delete, and get. So get will only provide the request which is for the listing purpose with this tokens. Post will, I would prefer with only for the registration purpose or login purpose. And patch patch will basic whenever we require to update a particular columns like email or first name. So only on that cases we will use the patch. And put, it may create the, if the resource is not available, so it will also create the resource as well as it will update the particular columns. So this first of all I would follow. Other things will create the routes and middleware for the security purpose, for authorizations purpose. I would like to go with the middleware. So that middleware validates the things, and if it finds middleware finds any type of discrepancy on the post request or get request, it will returns data to users. So these are best practice, and we should always follow the asynchronous call. We should call the asynchronous calls. We should not do the any blocking code so that our Node.js main thread will block. So for a large set of database data, we may use the streams, clusters, stream cluster, we may use that.
Okay. Have you worked with any frameworks or libraries in Node.js?
Yes, that is Express.js.
Okay. KOA?
Yeah, which one?
KOA.
Not get the much chance to work. However, for the learning process, just I investigated that, but don't have any experience on that. No. However, once I get the chance to work on that, I can go. I can deep dive, no problem.
Okay. Can you describe a specific feature or functionality you implemented using one of these frameworks? You said the Express.js, right?
Yeah.
Can you give a specific feature or functionality you have implemented using this framework?
Yes, for using the Express.js, we have created the endpoints, multiple endpoints, where we have followed the model MVC framework concept, and we created the endpoints. So, and with this, we have created we have called the third parties like Polygon's APIs, and there was also rate limit on the Polygons API. So generally we save the stores the data over our local environment, and if the data using the caching, if there is something particular found on the cache, so we get the data from the cache, and as on that cases we call the API endpoints. So using the Express we have achieved that, and there was also upload functionality. So we have used that. That is monitor.
Okay,
Generally,
that's
we
all
create the
about
API.
Okay, that's all about Node.js questions, and we have some general questions. Can you tell me about a time when you faced a significant challenge in your coding work?
Yep. Yes, that is generally we face it on the some time or some interval of time. So on that timing, what we do that we do some type of POC type of work. POC type of work we do if we stuck somewhere, or we also go through the whatever we have past experience. For the past experience, we learn the things. Further, within the team or within the organizations, there might be chances that some other developers may stuck on the particular points. So we may take help from them also. Or at last, or in the beginning, we first go to the Google and we do the Googling things and we try to find out the solution.
Okay, how did you resolve it?
Yes, we resolve it as I mentioned, Googling. It is one of the best friend. And nowadays, ChatGPT. I always take help from that also. And we have also the large set of previous experience. We have already developed projects, modules. So we have always generally it is in our mind that particular things is done on the particular period of time. So we go through that documents or that code base and we look on that part.
How do you stay updated with the latest developments in React and Node.js?
Yes, generally it is my personal point of view that particular interval or after 2 or 3 days, generally I look forward the Medium, Stack Overflow, or there is Dev.io. I go through that, and there are some groups I have also already joined over that, and where I get the knowledge of the particulars, what's developments going on, or if there is something is new and something is going to we are implement other organizations or team is working on that, so that functionality. By this way, we learn the things and we try to implement it. And in larger time or in learning time, I would say I always try to implement that features. So I keep doing the POC type of work at my end.
Okay. So describe your experience working in a team and how do you handle disagreements and conflicts within the team?
Generally, I have handled the 10 team members, as well as I have around 8 years of experience on handling the team members. So there might be chances that we are disagree on the particular points. So what we do generally, first of all, disagreements happen. Why disagreement happens? What I understand, this is due to not understanding the particulars client task. We are doing any task which is for the particular, we are solving some problems. So on that, while solving, we are being disagreed within the team or out of the teams, generally within the teams. So for the disagreements, first we would like to go with the whatever task we have. If we are not, if we are trying to complete the task and that task is completed without disagreement, without any going arguments, so that is fine. If you are doing over engineering, so that might be the cause of the disagreements. If either someone is asking to do by follow particular way and someone is not following, so I would request that follow whatever patterns we have already written, whatever solutions already given by solved by someone else, or whatever we have achieved in particular great way. It might that almost what we develop around 90% chances we have already done in the past. only 10% of the things is the new. So we may take the help from the previous work, and we will follow that. And whatever client provides, we will follow that. For the disagreement, what I would say, first of all, I would look on the particular things. If we'll discuss with the team, we will listen what the developer saying, what the other person is saying. First of all, listens and try to discuss with them and try to find out the solutions. Number one. Number two, I would like to ask if someone is disagreement on the particular points. So I would like to say that please create the POC type of work, so that if the POC is fulfilling the particular points and within the time frame and within the whatever we have documents and whatever rules and regulations, after following the rules and regulations, if the POC is fulfilling the documents, so it will be valid, and we must have to be agree on that points. If even though it is not, we are not agree. So on that cases, I would like to take involve of my seniors, and I will discuss with the seniors, and hopefully all the points will be solved. And the key point here is we'll listen all persons' points. We will not, will not be hard-coded here like that you have to do particular things.
Okay. What do you enjoy most about working with React and Node.js?
Yes, I was from the beginning. I was generally worked on the front end and sometimes on the back end. So I like the front end, which is too much challenging, I think, since it is updating almost after 1 year or 1.5 years. So learning a lot of things, and these things are too much dynamic. So I have to always go through the documents, and some friends helps or some ChatGPT helps. Always try to go through the learning and POC type of things. That is one of the challenging, and which I also enjoy that, since without that I would be idle, and I personally don't like to be idle. And
Okay.
in similar front end is nothing without the backend. So yes. I also work on the Node.js and REST API or endpoints.
Okay. So what are some aspects you find most challenging?
In Node.js, right?
Yeah, with respect to Node or React, everything.
Yeah, I would say optimizations and security.
Okay.
These are the key points of our projects, and our codes must be optimized and secure, so that no one can hack, and it should be optimized so that user get the response in the short period of time.
Sure. Can you give an example of how you have contributed to improving a development process or a code base in your previous roles?
Yes, regarding the development process, generally we had one earlier we used to follow after we have provided some task to someone else or myself, and we complete the task in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. After 1 week, we complete the task and we hand over to the QA team. After that, we find that it's blunder. Nothing is done since requirement was not read properly. So personally, I discuss with the team members or discuss with the seniors, discuss with the clients. We do that lot of discussion before going on the task. If there is any discrepancy or if any questions, we ask, and we first try to do the POC type of work if we find any type of sticking points. So on daily basis, we try to get the updates from myself also as well as others, so that we don't get surprised after 10 or 20 days. It is on one of the importance, and we always write what we have done today, what we have done yesterday, and what we have to do futures, so that one should not be generally idle.
Okay. So that's all from my side, Kishore. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, Santosh. First of all, I would say thank you.